meeting with the ANC individually, I'll recall that majority of the parties met with the ANC last Sunday. There was an indication that they are going to send a document that gives guidelines as to the GNU, the principles, the minimum program, and the modalities regarding how the GNU is going to operate. From Sunday up until now, the ANC has never come back to these parties in order to fully discuss, so that all of those discussions, they reach finality. Now, what we have now is the ANC approaching parties individually. Now, they've created an impression to the citizens that they want everyone, all parties to be involved. But what they are doing practically is that they are having a coalition with their own parties, which they've included, and the deals they've already included. I'm sure you'll recall that during the week, Tony Leon of the DA did allude that the discussions with the ANC are in the final stages, whereas with the parties that are in this table, they are not even in the final stages because they were not included in terms of bringing those documents that are basically the guidelines as to what are the modalities of the GNU. So we thought as these parties, let us come speak to the nation, advise the nation that the ANC is misleading the nation when it's saying it is a GNU. It is not a government of national unity, because if it's a government of national unity, all parties would have been equally consulted, there would have been equal understanding to all of the parties. What we see is that it is a coalition with certain parties, but under the disguise of a GNU, and the other parties which do not agree with some of the program or some of the suggestions by the ANC have been excluded. So that is why we thought we need to speak to the nation. This morning, the ANC sent the guideline document to Jama individually, and other parties which were part of the initial discussions with the ANC have never received that particular document. Again, which clearly shows that the intention of the ANC, it is not to have a GNU that is inclusive of all 18 political parties, but it is their intention is to get into a coalition with their preferred coalition partners. So I think we can just give it to the leaders to also state from their point of view. Otherwise, the intention of this media briefing, it is to just make the South African citizens know there is no GNU in our country. We've got a coalition of the party that got 40% with their preferred coalition partners. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So what we'll do, let's give each party an opportunity to say something, then we'll take some questions after each party has said something. Let's start with the UDM. General, do you have a mic here?
Is it necessary that we must all speak? So, from our side, we feel that we must be given an opportunity once more to look into this document which has been circulated this morning, and in line with our resolution of yesterday evening. From now on, we will want to negotiate a block representing this forum. So the ball is in the ANC's court to respond to our request to meet them. We will address the rest after they have formally responded to our letter. Thank you.
The President of UAT. Oh, we do have an extra mic here. I'll take this one.
Good morning again. As you all heard last night that the Secretary of the ANC indicated that they will be speaking to the UAT. I can confirm they haven't spoken to us. And even if they wanted to speak to us, we wouldn't speak to them as an individual or as a UAT. We'll speak to them as collective. Because as collective, we are about 13%. It's a fact that the ANC are 40%, they need 11. And we have 13 here. If they were really progressive and respect the programs of Africans, they would definitely give us an ear because there is no way we can reverse our gains by voting with the DA and others. So this is our position. We are waiting for them as collective, not as unity.
Thank you. And then the President for PAC.
Thank you. We, as PAC, we insist that the ANC must meet with us as these parties. They must not talk to us as individuals. Anyway, ANC called me yesterday and they said after 5 we'll share a statement with you before we publish it. And I said, okay, I'll wait till now. That was before parties met here. They did not share that statement. So they must meet with us. We don't have a problem with Government of National Unity, but the Government of National Unity must involve everybody, as the name suggests. Asingobakhapi emtshatweni we-ANC ne-DA.
Thank you very much, Khani Vendricks from Jama. When we had our negotiations with the ANC, we made it clear that the voters gave the ANC a mandate to form a minority government, and that it was easy for them to get the other 10% from other progressive parties. So Al-Jama is part of the Progressive Caucus, which we formed last night, and the Government of National Unity, as you know, we first had a moonshot PAC and then they changed the name, and now it is called Government of National Unity. It's all the same thing. So you can't criticize without coming up with an alternative. So we have a Progressive Caucus, and we hope that the ANC will join this Progressive Caucus. And we may have a new name called a National Front. And the National Front is to make sure that those rooted in apartheid principles do not govern. We are very concerned that at this stage, our take is that the ANC want to run the executive, and they want to give the Democratic Alliance and their allies to run parliament. That cannot be. Yes, I did receive the draft only this morning. I haven't had a chance to read it. There's a draft of principles that will govern the Government of National Unity. And I managed just to pick up one clause about sufficient consensus. Last night when we met as the Progressive Caucus, we looked at other alternatives to a sufficient consensus. I think we have written to the ANC to meet, and I hope they will meet us later this morning before we start with the proceedings to elect a speaker.
Thank you. And then the Deputy President of the...
No, thank you very much. We as the Economic Freedom Fighters also want to confirm that we are part of the Progressive Caucus here in the 7th Parliament of the Republic of South Africa. And we collectively are now talking to all the forces to say that let's constitute a progressive government in South Africa instead of collaboration with political parties that, as the Al-Jama president is saying, are rooted in colonialism and apartheid and are about protection of white minority interests and privileges. So we have, of course, returned collectively to the African National Congress to say we are going to negotiate as a collective, not as individual parties, because they have met us individually and they made a commitment that before Parliament elects the presiding officers and a president, they are going to come back to us individually. And it appears that they have not come back to all of us to say as to what is to be done, how do we proceed moving forward. Our offer still stands that we can constitute the Parliament and elect presiding officers and also elect a president as long as we exclude these other forces that represents colonialism and apartheid. And that is our position that we are consolidating and that we're going to negotiate together in terms of how we deal with this question. There seems to be no clarity from their side in terms of what it is. So we wanted to, of course, inform the people of South Africa that the progressive forces are presenting a solid option and alternative as to how we move forward. And the ANC will decide what they want to do. They want to continue with their grand coalition with the Moonshot Pact. They want to join the Moonshot Pact, let them go ahead. There will be, of course, consequences. If they want to go ahead with the Moonshot Pact, they can go ahead and do it. But otherwise, the progressive forces are here and ready to constitute a progressive parliament and government that is comprised of all progressive forces. That is where we stand. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's take a round of questions. Can we get some hands? 1, 2. We're not going to take many hands because remember we've got 3 in each. Got 3. Remember your number 4, 5, 6. Pendu, can you help? Where's Pendu with the book? Is Pendu not here? And up there, can you take it? Yes, good morning.
Good morning. My name is Sandra Mboleko from the Sunday Times. My question to you this morning is, what do you make of the concept of a government of national unity? What happens to opposition benches if all parties are necessarily sharing power? What do we make of the need for a watchdog if the watchdog is in bed with government? Just your clarity on that, please.
Thank you. Number 2, and maybe you just want to, after you introduce yourself, if there's anyone in particular you want to direct your question to each party, so that will help us.
Hi, my name is Mulelani from SABC. Firstly, you requested a meeting with the ANC Secretary General for 8 o'clock. Did that meeting happen? Secondly, we are 30 minutes away from the start of the sitting. By the look of things, it would look like that meeting would not happen. What then do you do as the progressive caucus? Do you attend or do you stay away? And the last question is that why do you think it is all right that you can dictate who should be part of the government of national unity in terms of the representation, when also on your own you are saying that everybody must be represented, but you also don't want other people to be part and parcel of that test?
Morning everyone, Tabiso Eyewitness News. I think my questions are for Mr. Hendricks. Mr. Zula mentioned that you received an outline from the ANC of what the GNU is. Can you just maybe just share some of those details, if you don't mind? And since you're here, Mr. Hendricks, does this mean that Jama is not going to be joining the GNU if the DA and the Freedom Front Plus are part of it? Thank you.
Sorry, Lisa Kando from the Sunday Times. It's for you as well, Mr. Hendricks. You have a long-standing relationship with the ANC. You've been allied with the ANC for quite some time. What does that mean? Because you've raised concerns about the GNU through statements, but what does it mean in terms of your relationship going forward with the ANC, should the ANC go into bed with the DA? And in terms of, yeah, that's all.
Thank you. Newsroom.
Thank you so much. Junior Commando from Newsroom Africa. I think this one is more for the EFF and the UDM. You being in this position today, isn't it an indictment on your parties basically asking for, making unreasonable requests to the ANC in terms of the positions that you wanted without having the necessary numbers that would give you those certain positions? I'm asking because the EFF wanted finance ministry, The UDM, at some point, there was reports that they also wanted a cabinet position as well.
Where did you get that?
If it's not true, then you can say that.
I don't get involved in high-level gossip.
Oh, okay.
Come with facts if you want.
That's the question. Is it not an indictment to some of these parties for making unreasonable requests? Thank you.
And then we have... did you have your hand up? Did I count you? Number 5. Okay, we'll have you after. Let's go to... Yeah.
Thank you. I'll be really quick. I'm Jason Felix, News 24. I just want to latch onto the question Bulelani asked. My question is simple. What now? It's 9:35. The sitting starts at 10 o'clock. What can the parties, the Progressive Caucus, possibly do to change the mind of the ANC, which they so badly want to? Because, I mean, also, what happens if you can't change the ANC's mind? What happens if they do go into bed with the DA and the IFP, which is the dominant narrative? Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Zolani from the Caucus. This is more to the PAC. I think the PAC released a statement earlier this week saying that they have met with the ANC and that they agree to form the government of national unity, and that the ANC propose a national endeavor. So now it's surprisingly now that the PAC is back now with this Progressive Caucus. It's just a bit of a confusion there. Can you clarify that, please?
Okay, thank you. So,
sorry, we're running out of time.
Yeah. Yes, we are. So we're going to wrap up.
Just another question.
You've just heard.
Just one more question on for the ATM.
But you're being so out of order now. So I'm going to get the PAC president. He has some specific questions that was asked, and then we'll move on to.
Thank you. Even here, when I spoke, I said we don't have a problem with government of national unity. We did not agree to form the government of national unity before we have the details. We released a statement that we met with the ANC, and they said they will come back to us with details, and they did not. Even yesterday, I said it here that the ANC said they will share a statement with us. They did not. Yeah. So, we'll send them new moves on checkers. Okay.
We were very worried that the Democratic Alliance and parties like the Freedom Front Plus will run Parliament. I am convinced that the ANC will propose a speaker from their own ranks. So that removes a lot of concerns. But I think it's still very important for them to meet with the Progressive Caucus so that the speaker can get the endorsement of the parties associated with the Progressive Caucus. So Al-Jama's position is that, like I earlier on said, that the government of national unity is a smokescreen for a moonshot PAC, and that the ANC should rather consider a national front. We were all together in the darkest days of apartheid, fighting in the trenches, doing the work that we did. Journalists played a very important role as well. And now today we're faced with the same problem, that we have to prevent, like the honourable member of the EFF said, oh, he's not honourable yet, he must still be sworn in, but that is fine. So we feel that we're in a similar situation where liberation formations, movement, individuals came together, and now we are coming together as a progressive force, caucus, and we're asking civil society to join us as well to make sure that we don't return to white rule, to apartheid rule, because if that is going to happen, there will be a bloodbath. Thank you.
General. Thank you. The United Democratic Movement's manifesto is clear. We have been championing the concept of a coalition and government of national unity. We based this on the fact that at the time we launched our manifesto on the 3rd of March this year, we said there seems to be an emerging consensus among South Africans that there will be no outright winner. Therefore, we must get ready for a new government which will not be dominated by one party. So far, we have put our position as United Democratic Movement together with the rest of the parties here that we would like to sit down with the ANC so that they can come up with a framework of how are we going to work on this. A question was asked, what will be the role of the opposition parties when it comes to calling a government of national unity to be accountable? Those are the issues we wanted to discuss with the ANC. ANC is free, they can appoint or approach any party, but at least we must know